Hey, everybody, welcome to On the Spot Live. And I have Ryan Haley join me today. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Hey, it's good to be with you, Mike.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. Boy, it's been a while since you and I connected.
Yeah, I think it's been about 4 or 5 months at least.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a while. So it's been good to meet you, though. See the things you're doing and what you're up to. I know that you're going to be on a panel at the upcoming Multifamily Summit. I'm excited about that. Before we get into that, though, why don't you tell people where you're calling from and who, a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, so I am in Denver, Colorado, and I am a real estate investor. And so in the last few years, I got involved with a company called Unbridled Wealth out here. And we specialize in kind of, outside the box creative financing, usually with a lot of real estate investors, business owners. And we specialize in something called the infinite banking concept or privatized banking, using cash value life insurance to fund investments, business opportunities, and kind of family and legacy planning.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. So first of all, let me ask you this. Is it snowing in Denver yet?
No, it's actually drop dead gorgeous right now. It's probably 65 or 70, but that could change on a dime.
Yeah, it's really nice here. I'm in Chicago and it's really nice here today too. And they were calling for 100% chance of rain today, and the sun is out. It's beautiful out. So I'm kind of hating that I'm inside, but
Yeah,
that's all right.
same here. Yeah.
Um, hey, so I love this concept of infinite banking, right? We've talked about it in the past. It's talked about often, but I think it's a great way for people to be able to invest in real estate, to invest in multifamily real estate, and to do that in a non-conventional way where they don't have to take cash out of their account, where it's not a self-directed IRA type investment. It's an alternative, right?
Yeah.
So when people say, hey, I don't have any money, I can't invest in real estate, this infinite banking program actually gives them the ability to be able to do it, to find money somewhere else. So I think it's pretty cool. And talk a little bit about it, but not too much, because you're going to be on a panel at the upcoming summit, and we're going to really dive into it a little bit more there.
Yeah, well, what you said is exactly right, Mike. And in fact, before I even really knew what this was, that example you just gave was my real life story as well. I was looking for some extra cash to fund an acquisition of a fourplex several years ago. And I needed to come up with about $40,000 for the transaction. And lo and behold, I got my annual statement from my insurance policy that I had just been paying for, 13 years or something like that, and noticed I had about $40,000 of cash value. So I was able to borrow against that cash value, tax free, get a tax deduction on the policy loan interest, and that helped me to buy this property that got a fantastic return, good cash flow, great capital gains, and all the while the money was still compounding tax free inside my policy. So I kind of did that without knowing what it was. And then when I sold the property in 2020, I wanted to find a place to keep that money in a safe place that was liquid and available for other investments, but I didn't want to take the risk. So then I really started to study and understand this thing and got another policy, and then I just put that in there, and now that's fund other investment ideas. And the whole idea is that you're keeping your money in the policy, getting a safe tax-free return, and then you can use it somewhere else at the same time. And real estate, particularly multifamily syndications, are one of the prime examples of our bread and butter, and myself and my clients. So it's a great combo.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I like what you said, that it's tax-free and that it's safe, right? And I think that especially in the environment that we're in, or moving more into this recessionary period that we're experiencing, people want to know that they're going to be safe, and they're going to be able to earn a return, and that it's going to be tax-free, right? So
Exactly. And I should probably caveat that tax-free part. I have to be careful in what I say. If you structure the policy correctly, that is true. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you structure the policy design the right way, for the tax reasons and just for the efficiency. If you don't, it can be, a pretty bad situation. But as long as you know what you're doing, you work with someone who does, then if it's structured correctly, it's an absolutely fantastic way to compound wealth on multiple levels.
yeah, that's awesome. And what's really cool is you're going to be on a panel at the summit coming up October 20th through the 22nd, the 3-day virtual event that I'm hosting. I have like 20 speakers, 3 panels, over 30 professionals that are really do well in the industry. I actually looked at how many units all these owners own, and it was well over 100,000. I quit counting.
Wow.
So there's going to be a lot of power at the event, a lot of information for the new investor or the seasoned investor, right? I mean, I've been doing this 30 years, and it's only been the last couple of years I've heard about this process. But you're going to be on a panel with Isaac Bennett, Isaac, who introduced you and I, and Kevin Dugan, who's one of my business partners, and also Ryan Cotter, who's a local loan broker here in the Chicago market that does some multifamily loans as well. But you guys are going to be talking about private capital, how to find private capital, how to raise private capital, how investors who want to be invested in real estate but don't have large amounts of capital or don't know how to access capital have different ways of doing that. I'm also going to have somebody on talking about using a self-directed IRA. But I find it interesting. People often think that, I don't have money to do it. I don't have any money. And really there is money there or on the sidelines. Or, if they want to be patient in some cases with your process, money will show up, right?
Yeah. And again, if you structure the policy effectively from the beginning, you can get, the vast majority of the amount that you put in day one. Again, the design is really important. That's a whole process, which we can talk about, but it's not something where you have to wait 20 or 30 years to get back the amount of cash value that you've paid in premiums. You could have anywhere from 75 to even 90+% day one if you structure it correctly. So, and that was, again, exactly what you said. For me, that was the only way I was able to make that deal work. And it worked phenomenally. And so I became such a big, proponent and believer in it that I'm doing this now, but it really is in service of the investing, and particularly real estate is a great asset class to do that with.
Yeah. And it sounds like, though, not only real estate, but you could use this process in other alternative investment classes as well.
Yeah, you can literally use it for anything you want. You could even use it for personal expenses. But what I like, that's another thing is that, like you said, it's an alternative. You don't have the restrictions of the qualified plans with all the different things. So there's no limit to what you can use it for. But what I think is the most ideal way is to put it somewhere else, like real estate, where you're getting cash flow, you're getting appreciation and growth, and you're also hopefully getting an additional tax benefit on top of everything that you're getting in the policy.
Yeah, that's really interesting, is that, like with a qualified plan, a self-directed, you have to be arm's length away from it, right? You can't put it in real estate that you own or operate or live in or are going to use yourself. So it's interesting. You can use this type of investment alternatively to that.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of people say that for really tax efficient vehicles, and of course it depends on how the fund is structured, but since there's so much tax benefit to real estate, if you get a cost segregation study, bonus depreciation, et cetera, then a lot of people say there's really no point of using a qualified plan because it's already tax efficient. Then you combine that with the tax efficiency of the policy. People tend to avoid using qualified plans in some cases, not all, but I think people have to be really careful about those, because I've been reading some articles recently that are saying, a lot of people may be running afoul of IRS rules concerning qualified plans and investing things. So again, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an investment advisor, I don't get tax advice, but I do know that that's something that you have to be really careful about. And that even if you do it all correctly, again, for most of the really sophisticated and successful investors that I work with, they don't even want to do that because they're already getting such a great benefit in the deal itself that it kind of is an unnecessary redundancy, and they'd rather use their qualified plans for something else.
Yeah, interesting. Hey, I like what you always say too. We have to be careful about what I say. There's always those disclaimers that the attorneys say, make sure you talk about this. And it's like at the beginning of my webinars, I always have to say, okay, so the attorneys want me to talk about this. I'm not an accountant. I'm not an attorney. This is educational information, all of that. So we always want to make sure that we're in compliance. So that's good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, hey, let me ask you this, just on a fun note. Talk about a couple fun things you're going to do this weekend in Denver.
Well, this weekend in particular, I just got back from about a 3-week vacation in Oregon. So I'm kind of just catching up on school and work, but it's beautiful outside. I might go play some disc golf at a nice park a couple minutes away from where I live, and probably just getting caught up on some work and school stuff before I go to San Francisco next week to go to one of my classes for a certified financial planning course I'm taking. So had my fun recently, hoping to have more of it, but I think this is kind of keep my nose to the grindstone for the next week or two.
Yeah. So are you studying finance in school or?
Yeah, so I already have an MBA in financial management and a couple of different business schools. But right now, because I have to be so careful about what I say, and there's a limited amount of services I can offer, even though I have a lot of knowledge, I'm getting my certified financial planning designation, or CFP. Then I can do full scale, financial planning on a lot of levels, which to do IBC right as a professional, agent, I think you really need to have that skill set already. But now I just get to officially say what I'm kind of already doing and actually be able to get paid for that on top of just, the IBC portion itself.
Yeah. Interesting. So I have a friend who just went back to school or been going back to school for a little bit, and he's going to Harvard for an MBA. And he's a finance guy and underwrites multifamily deals. He's really good at what he does. He actually can't talk. He can't be at the summit this year because he's going to be in school in Boston, finishing up a couple of classes. But he used to always tease. He said, "Oh, my Harvard friends." So the other day I was talking to him. I said, "So now I can say, oh, my Harvard friend."
That's so funny, Mike, because I used to say the same thing about CFPs and most traditional investment advisors. I'm like, oh, these guys, all they know is stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and they don't know anything about real estate and alternatives, which I think are really important. So, if and when I do get my CFP, don't hold it against me, but I really plan to use that to bring these really important asset classes like real estate, and particularly syndication funds, which I've found just in the last couple of years, I've discovered. And everybody I know who started off doing, personally owned real estate, building up their portfolio, eventually you get to a point and it kind of doesn't make sense to do anything other than eventually invest in syndication funds, because typically your returns are higher, your tax benefits are much better, and it truly is 100% passive, which I think anybody who's owned a portfolio of properties dealing with the old, toilets, tenants, and termites, you realize pretty soon that becomes unsustainable and it's hard to scale. So I really find huge value in what you and Isaac and other people are doing in this space. And there's other things like that. And I think that those have a really important piece of everyone's portfolio.
Yeah, that's cool. There's a lot of opportunity in this space. And I want people to really understand that. A lot of times people think, oh, just real estate investing, but there is so much opportunity. One of the big things is we talk about asset classes. You have single family, you have retail, office. But when you look at multifamily, there's so many opportunities in the multifamily bucket. You have senior housing, assisted living, self-storage, mobile homes, RV parks, and then in, apartments, they're classified differently. So you can really take advantage of different types of investments where you as an investor might feel a little bit more secure in something else. So I say that because I really want people to come out to the Multifamily Summit, right? October 20th through the 22nd. It's a 3-day virtual event. If you can't be there for the whole thing, it's going to be recorded. You'll get access to a link to be able to go back. But, I have 30 great speakers, people like Ryan, that are going to be there talking about creative finance, different ways to fund either an active or a passive investment, how to get involved. If you have no experience at all, there's going to be a whole panel of people talking about how they got started, how they were able to leave a W-2 job, some that haven't even left their W-2 job yet, right, and are active investors. And whether you are trying to do hands-on investing and want to get with a great team, there'll be plenty of networking. Or if you want to be a passive investor and just invest with a great sponsorship team, opportunities to find out more about all of that. But come on out, spend some time. I have some great, really well-known national speakers that are going to be talking, and I'm excited about what I'm going to learn. I'm looking forward to listening to some people, and it's just like I get on these podcasts with someone like you and learn something new. So, hey, tell people how they get a hold of you, Ryan.
Yeah, you can send me an email, like it says there on the screen, at rhaley@unbridledwealth.com. You can also go to either I can send you a link, or you can go to unbridledwealth.com and just look for me or any of other agents and representatives on the website, schedule an appointment right there over Calendly for Zoom. And, again, we are really such a huge believer in these alternative spaces, especially multifamily real estate. And I think even very sophisticated investors who have been doing things for a long time are just now finding out, like you said, Mike, every time I do something, I learn another little twist that just adds that much more. So I'm super excited, not only to share what I know, but also to hear all the wealth of knowledge that you've put together. So I'm excited. I'll be sending this out to my list, and I definitely encourage anybody who's listening to this to register and attend.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. And listen, special offer. I'm leaving it right now till the end for people. Go to multifamily22.com, get registered. I have an early bird special going on right now. It lasts until the 10th, but go get registered so we don't run out of these. Use the coupon code earlybird22. You're going to get 60% off the VIP Plus ticket, and you're going to want to be up close, have the opportunity for Q&A with the speakers and some after party sessions and some other things that we're going to be having at the event. I look forward to seeing you, Ryan, and everybody else there on the 20th. And Ryan, you're speaking on Friday the 21st, correct? At 3:30 in the afternoon. So if people are directly looking for that passive investing talk or panel, that's where you're going to be. Hey, hang on. I'm going to end the broadcast, and you and I can hang out for a minute.
All right. Thanks, Mike.